Now, I got asked this question the other day. I was talking to a company, a client, and the question was something along the lines of, and this was I really liked this. Something along the lines of, but hey, Jocko, sometimes don't you have to advocate for yourself? And this is the big fear, right? The big fear in life is, if I don't advocate for myself, then I'm going to get trampled. Now, out of the gate, I can tell you, for all practical reasons or for all practical occasions, no. Look, could you identify a time when you have to advocate? If you and I sat down and said, okay, let's review, let's talk, let's discuss this and figure out a time when you have to advocate for yourself. I'm sure we could come up with something. I'm sure we could create a situation and create the correct variables where you have to advocate for yourself. I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks. I haven't been able to come up with one yet, but I'm sure we could. I'm sure there's a scenario where you got to advocate. Do you sometimes have to advocate for your team? Yeah, you do sometimes have to advocate for your team. I get that. Here's the deal. The best way to advocate for your team and the best way to advocate for yourself is to advocate for the mission and the team as a whole. Not just your team, but the whole team. Yeah. The best way to advocate for yourself and your team is by advocating for the whole mission and the whole team. And by the way, every time you want to talk about expending leadership capital, every time you advocate for yourself, it's the grossest expenditure of leadership capital you can give. And people I see people all the time, they don't even recognize this. They think that no one noticed. They think that people, I understand he's got to do that. No one thinks, hey, you know what? I understand where Dave's coming. He really needs to look out for himself right now. I've never thought that about anyone that I've heard advocating for themselves. Never. I never think that. I think, Dave's out though. Dave's looking out for Dave. Cool. Check. That's what I think. And his leadership capital goes down. And now when he presents something legitimate to the team, I'm trying to figure out the angle that he's working to look out for good deal Dave. So once again, we can sit here and we can think about arguing. Now, here's what's beautiful. Here's why you don't have to advocate for yourself. You don't have to advocate for yourself. Well, let me rephrase that. Here's why you don't have to advocate for yourself in 99.9% of situations. If you are in the 0.1% human, that is, your goal is to take care of yourself, it's going to seem like you need to advocate for yourself. And you're going to fail because of it, because that's what you're going to do. But check this out. If I am advocating for the team and I'm advocating for the mission and we accomplish the mission and the team does well, what happens to me? What happens to me? My team just did well. The entire team did well, and my team was part of the entire team, and that means my team did well. And guess what? My boss thinks, hey, Jocko's team did a good job supporting the overall mission. We won. Wow, seems like he's a good leader. Maybe I should promote him. So it's as sad as it sounds, it is you are helping yourself when you look out for everybody else. I guess I shouldn't say sad. It's actually the beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful thing that if you go and you look out for the team and you got the mission accomplished, you will get taken care of. You don't need to advocate for yourself. Advocate for the team, advocate for the mission, and you're gonna win. But if you sit there and you think, I don't know, I better look out for me, everybody's going to see it. It's not going to help the team. It's not going to help the mission. And ultimately, it is not going to help you. So if you want to advocate, if you want to, quote, advocate for yourself, the best possible way you can advocate for yourself is by looking out for your team and looking out for the mission. That's what you should do. And that goes to these situations where, hey, Dave's got a division and I've got a division, and I sit there and say, I'm going to get as much as I can. Actually, Dave, it seems like you've got a project that's way more important than the project I'm working on. How can I support you? I'm advocating for you. So be careful of that. I wasn't born this way. Wasn't born this way. I remember being in a SEAL platoon and looking around going, wait a second, what are we supposed to be doing right now? I remember that. I remember as the, quote, instinct developed. Well, what wasn't instinct that was developing? It was leadership that was developing. It's not a supernatural thing. It's the way you think. It's the way that I think. It's what my mind does when I have a decision or a problem to solve or a maneuver to direct. It's not intuition. I don't have a superpower. I ran this loop. I ran these 2 loops basically. And if you run them quick and you don't get stuck in a rut, you're going to see more and you will be able to lead.